If you're struggling to get customers and clients, even though you've been posting on TikTok and Instagram for months, I have the solution for you. I've managed a 9-figure launch, I've tripled subscribers for a YouTube brand, and I've grown brand accounts to hundreds of thousands of followers over the last 2 years. Here's the piece you're missing. Short form content is a great way to get eyeballs quickly and to draw people into your ecosystem. But it doesn't build the trust you need to create a sustainable business. In order to drive conversions and earn customers, you need a way to build trust. And to do that, you need to show depth. I'm going to show you the 4 things you need to understand in order to convert attention to cash on YouTube. The last one I see so many people forget about, so make sure you stay to the end because it doesn't work without the first 3. First, you need to understand why YouTube generates cash for your business. There are 3 main reasons, and I'll label them A, B, and C so don't get confused with the 4 things that I mentioned earlier. A is more trust equals more conversions. YouTube generates more trust than any other platform because of watch time. The more you watch their video, the more you learn about them, the more you trust them. It's human psychology that the more you're exposed to something, the more likely you're going to start liking it. B is depth. You get to truly show your expertise, so now you can go deep on a subject, whereas on short form, you could really only get 30 to 90 seconds in most of the time. You also beat out written long form because you're able to show your face, your mannerisms, and your authentic thought process. But trust is worthless if nobody finds your content. So point C is why YouTube is completely different than any other video platform you're posting on. C, your videos can compound over years. YouTube is the 2nd largest search engine in the world, and it allows your videos to build on top of each other, which builds your niche authority on your channel like a blog would on your website. So not only is your content getting you in front of your intended audience, but unlike short form content, it can bring organic inbound from search for years. The next 3 things are where most people are failing, and they all involve creating your cult following. And yes, this is applicable from very compliant finance companies all the way to personal brands and clothing launches. The second main thing of the 4 is that you need brand pillars. And these pillars need to cover the topics that are important to you, your offer, and your audience. If you're a personal brand, this may be 2 to 3 things around your offer and another 1 to 2 things about your personal life. Say you're an independent financial advisor and you're offering services. You would probably have a pillar around walkthroughs on how you would solve a specific problem, and another pillar around common pitfalls of your audience and how to avoid them. Then you could show yapping videos where you're doing a hobby you like working out, pottery, bringing your dog to the park. Personal brands are actually much more potent than traditional brands, so I always recommend them even if you're representing your business. If it has to be a traditional brand, you're mostly going to stick to education-based content that leads directly to your offer. This works, but it's very dry and generates much less trust as it's clear that your content wants to sell something. The third main thing of the 4 is the difference between getting no views, a lot of views, and a lot of money. You need a strong content mix that covers the entire funnel. So top of funnel is for broad mass appeal. Big ideas that capture attention. This will make up the majority of your content mix because the top of the funnel is the biggest. You cast a wide net to bring in as many people as you can, and then you filter them as they go through the funnel. This content is usually trendy, motivational, or has high replay or share value. Middle of the funnel is more targeted. It's made up of exact pain points that your audience is feeling. This is also where vlogging, documenting, storytime content would fit in. You're building deeper connections with your intended customer and filtering out the rest. The bottom of the funnel is mainly about how good your offer is. Are you providing value directly to the person you're making content for? Is it in their budget? Does it solve their problem? Does it entertain them? The further down you go, the more targeted you need to be. I can make a whole video on offers in the bottom of the funnel, so if you want to see that, comment below. The 4th thing is so much more important than you think it is. You need to solve a problem. Leaving this out will leave your content with hardly any views and no targeting. You will have no audience that you're speaking to. The problems you're solving are what trigger people to click. Motivate them to watch throughout, build their identity with you and your solution, and in the end, motivate them to buy. The bigger the pain, the bigger the payoff. So if they are in more pain, they are more likely to buy and more likely to pay a higher price. There are two ways to come at solving a problem. One, you can start at a pain point. Find something that people just hate dealing with, are confused about, don't understand, or maybe they're scared by, and find a solution to it. Alex Hormozi did this with business offers. Gary Vaynerchuk does this with getting attention. Financial advisors do this with taxes, saving, and growing wealth. Clothing brands and personal brands do this with identity, which is one of the reasons that they're so much more potent than your regular business brands. The second way to solve a problem is to find an audience you understand and figure out what is difficult for them. So if you lift weights a lot, you might realize that you have wrist pain, and so you come out with your own wrist wrap brand. Or if you don't have a lot of time, but you want to spend more time with your family, maybe you create a productivity tool or system that helps people save time so they can be with their partner and kids more. Once you solve this problem, you can use your knowledge of their pain points to create content that resonates with them, where you can teach them about your solution. If you're a brand and you want to trigger a pain point, you might say, nobody makes minimalistic clothes like this anymore. Or if you're a more traditional business, you may say something like, if you're worried you haven't saved enough for retirement, here is a 10-point checklist to see if you're in a good spot. Both trigger an emotion. For the brand, it was identity with the person's taste and minimalism. For the traditional business, it was fear that potential clients might have about saving for retirement. Both are aimed at their intended audience and trigger a response that can get a click and watch time. Those are the 4 things you need to understand in order to convert attention to cash on YouTube if you are a registered investment advisor or a brand owner and you want to generate business with your YouTube channel. Apply for my program below.